On the first day of the month, I lay alone in my house, resting on my bed. It was a quiet evening, the stillness of the night enveloping me in its serene embrace. Suddenly, I was startled awake by a slap, a sensation so unexpected that it jolted me from my sleep. Before me stood two men of enormous stature, towering figures unlike any I had ever seen on earth. Their presence was overwhelming, and their faces shone as brightly as the sun, illuminating the room with an ethereal light. Their eyes were like burning torches, intense and penetrating, and from their lips emanated fire, flickering and fierce. These celestial beings were clad in garments of various kinds, rich and vibrant in appearance, purple hues shimmering in the dim light. Their wings, more radiant than gold, spread majestically, and their hands, whiter than snow, seemed to hold a purity beyond earthly comprehension. These men stood at the head of my bed, their gaze fixed upon me, and called me by name. Rising from my sleep, I saw them clearly standing before me. I greeted them, though fear gripped me, changing the expression on my face due to the terror I felt. My heart pounded in my chest, and my breath came in shallow gasps as I tried to comprehend the sight before me. One of the men spoke to me, his voice both powerful and comforting, saying, "Have courage, Enoch, do not fear. The eternal God has sent us to you. Today you shall ascend with us into heaven. Tell your sons and household what they should do in your absence. And let no one seek you until the Lord returns you to them." His words resonated deeply within me, and I felt a sense of calm wash over my fear. Quickly, I obeyed their command. I left my house, my steps hurried yet purposeful, went to the doors, and summoned my sons, Methuselah, Regem, and Gaidad. I shared with them all the wondrous things the men had revealed to me, their eyes widening in amazement as they listened. After informing my sons, the angels lifted me on their wings, their strength and grace evident as they carried me up to the first heaven. I felt a sensation of weightlessness as we ascended, the ground falling away beneath us, and soon I was set upon the clouds. From there I looked around, marveling at the new perspective, and then upwards, seeing the ether, a realm beyond the earthly skies. They placed me on the first heaven and showed me a sea far greater than any earthly sea, its vastness and beauty surpassing anything I had ever known. They presented to me the elders and rulers of the stellar orders, beings of wisdom and authority, and showed me 200 angels who govern the stars and their duties to the heavens. These angels, with their magnificent wings, fly around those who sail, guiding and watching over them. The sight of these celestial guardians filled me with awe, their dedication and purpose evident in their every movement. Looking down, I beheld the storehouses of snow, vast and formidable repositories guarded by angels. I saw the clouds, observing where they emerge and where they return, their cycles of creation and dissolution a testament to the divine order. The angels also showed me the treasure house of the dew, its appearance like olive oil, pure and clear, and it took the form of all the flowers of the earth, each delicate petal a reflection of the divine artistry. Further, many angels guarding the treasure houses of these things, and how they are made to shut and open. And those men took me and led me up onto the second heaven, and showed me darkness, greater than earthly darkness. And there I saw prisoners hanging, watched, awaiting the great and boundless judgment. And these angels were dark-looking, more than earthly darkness, and incessantly making weeping through all hours. And I said to the men who were with me, "Wherefore are these incessantly tortured?" They answered me, "These are God's apostates, who obeyed not God's commands, but took counsel with their own will, and turned away with their prince, who also is fastened on the fifth heaven." And those men took me thence, and led me up onto the third heaven, and placed me there. And I looked downwards, and saw the produce of these places such as never been known for goodness. And I saw all the sweet flowering trees, and beheld their fruits which were sweet-smelling, and all the foods borne by them bubbling with fragrant exhalation. And in the midst of it the trees of life in that place whereon the Lord rests when he goes up into paradise. and this tree is of ineffable goodness and fragrance, and adorned more than every existing thing. And on all sides it is in form gold, looking and vermilion and fire-like, and covers all. And it has produced from all fruits. Its root is in the garden at the earth's end, and paradise is between corruptibility and incorruptibility, and two springs come out which send forth honey and milk, and their springs send forth oil and wine. And they separate into 4 parts, and go round with quiet course, and go down into the paradise of Eden between corruptibility and incorruptibility. And thence they go forth along the earth, and have a revolution to their circle, even as other elements. And here there is no unfruitful tree, and every place is blessed. And there are 300 angels, very bright, who keep the garden, and with incessant sweet singing and never silent voices serve the Lord throughout all days and hours. And those 2 men led me up onto the northern side, and showed me there a very terrible place. And there were all manner of tortures in that place, cruel darkness and unillumined gloom. And there's no light there, but murky fire constantly flaming aloft. And there is a fiery river coming forth, and that whole place is everywhere fire, and everywhere there is frost and ice, burst and shivering, while the bonds are very cruel, and the angels, fearful and merciless, bearing angry weapons, merciless torture. And I said, Whoa, whoa, how very terrible is this place. And those men said to me, This place, O Enoch, is prepared for those who dishonor God, who on earth practice sin against nature, which is child corruption after the sodomitic fashion, magic making, enchantments and devilish witchcrafts, and who boast of their wicked deeds, stealing lies, calumnies, envy, rancor, fornication, murder, and who, accursed, steal the souls of men, who, seeing the poor, take away their goods and themselves wax rich, injuring them for other men's goods, who, being able to satisfy the empty, made the hungering to die, being able to clothe, strip the naked. And who knew not their Creator, and bowed to the soulless and lifeless gods who cannot see nor hear, vain gods who also built hewn images and bowed down to unclean handiwork. For all these is prepared, this place among these for eternal inheritance. Those men took me and led me up onto the 4th heaven, and showed me all the successive goings, all the rays of the light of sun and moon. And I measured their goings and compared their light, and saw that the sun's light is greater than the moon's. Its circle and the wheels on which it goes always, like wind going past with very marvelous speed, and day and night it has no rest. Its passage and return are accompanied by 4 great stars, and each star has under it 1,000 stars to the right of the sun's wheel, and by 4 to the left, and having under it 1,000 stars, altogether 8,000, issuing with the sun continually, and by day 15 myriads of angels attend it. And by night 1,006 winged ones issue with the angels before the sun's wheel into the fiery flames, and 100 angels kindled the sun and set it alight. The men took me on to the 5th heaven and placed me, and there I saw many and countless soldiers called Grigori of human appearance, and their size was greater than that of great giants, and their faces withered, and the silence of their mouths perpetual. And there was no service on the 5th heaven. I said to the men who were with me, Wherefore are these very withered, and their faces melancholy, and their mouths silent, and wherefore is there no service on this heaven? And they said to me, These are the Grigori, who with their prince Satano rejected the Lord of light, and after them are those who are held in great darkness on the 2nd heaven. And 3 of them went down onto the earth from the Lord's throne to the place Hermon, and broke through their vows on the shoulder of the hill Hermon, and saw the daughters of men, how good they are, and took to themselves wives and befouled the earth with their deeds. Who in all times of their age made lawlessness and mixing, and giants are born, and marvelous men and great enmity, and therefore God judged them with great judgment. And they weep for their brethren, and they will be punished on the Lord's great day. And thence those men took me up, and bore me up onto the 6th heaven. And there I saw 7 bands of angels, very bright and very glorious, and their faces shining more than the sun shining, glistening, and there is no difference in their faces or behavior or manner of dress. And these make the orders, and learn the goings of the stars and the alteration of the moon, or revolution of the sun, and the good government of the world. And when they see evil doing, they make commandments and instruction, and sweet and loud singing, and all songs of praise. These are the archangels who are above angels, measure all life in heaven and on earth, and the angels who are appointed over seasons and years, and angels who are over rivers and sea, and who are over the fruits of the earth, and the angels who are over every grass, giving food to all, to every living thing. And the angels who write all the souls of men and all their deeds and their lives before the Lord's face. In their midst are 6 phoenixes and 6 cherubim and 6 winged ones, continually with one voice singing. And it is not possible to describe their singing, and they rejoice before the Lord at his footstool. And those 2 men lifted me up thence onto the 7th heaven, and I saw there a very great light, and fiery troops of great archangels, in corporal forces and dominions, orders and governments, cherubim and seraphim, thrones and many-eyed ones, 9 regiments, the ionate stations of light. I became afraid, and began to tremble with great terror. And those men took me and led me after them, and said to me, "Have courage, Enoch, do not fear," and showed me the Lord from afar, sitting on his very high throne. For what is there on the 10th heaven, since the Lord dwells there? On the 10th heaven is God. In the Hebrew tongue, he is called Aravat. The heavenly troops would come and stand on the 10 steps according to their rank, a majestic sight to behold. Each troop, in their appointed order, would bow down to the Lord, a gesture of profound reverence and worship. After bowing, they would return to their places in joy and felicity, their hearts lightened with divine bliss. As they moved back to their stations, they sang songs in the boundless light, their voices small and tender, yet filled with glorious devotion. These celestial beings served him with pure hearts, their harmonious voices blending into a symphony of praise. I saw the 8th heaven, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Mazaloth. This realm is the changer of the seasons of drought and wet, a cosmic regulator. Here, the 12 constellations of the circle of the firmament reside, positioned above the 7th heaven. Each constellation moves in its ordained path, influencing the cycles and rhythms of the world below. The 8th heaven is a marvel of celestial mechanics, where the harmony of the cosmos is maintained. Then I was shown the 9th heaven, known in Hebrew as Kuchavim. This is the heavenly abode of the 12 constellations, the stellar homes where they rest and originate. These constellations form the circle of the firmament, a grand celestial wheel that turns with divine precision. The 9th heaven is a place of extraordinary beauty, where the constellations shine with a brilliance that outshines the earthly stars. On the 10th heaven, which is called Aravath, I beheld the appearance of the Lord's face. It was like iron made to glow in fire and brought out emitting sparks, a sight both awe-inspiring and fearsome. The Lord's face burned with an intense radiance, a light so powerful that it defied description. The Lord's face is ineffable, marvelous, and very terrible. It is beyond human comprehension, an embodiment of divine majesty and power. Who am I to tell of the Lord's unspeakable being and of his very wonderful face? The quantity of his many instructions in various voices is beyond my ability to recount. The Lord's throne is very great, not made with hands, a symbol of his eternal authority. Around his throne stand troops of cherubim and seraphim, their incessant singing filling the heavens with praise. The immutable beauty of the Lord is a sight of unparalleled splendor. Who can tell of the ineffable greatness of his glory? In the presence of such divine majesty, I fell prone and bowed down to the Lord. The Lord, with his lips, said to me, "Have courage, Enoch, do not fear. Arise and stand before my face into eternity." His words filled me with strength and reassurance. The archangel Michael then lifted me up and led me to stand before the Lord's face. The Lord spoke to his servants, testing them, "Let Enoch stand before my face into eternity." The glorious ones bowed down to the Lord, acknowledging his command, and said, Let Enoch go according to your word." The Lord then instructed Michael, "Go and take Enoch from out of his earthly garments and anoint him with my sweet ointment, and put him into the garments of my glory." Michael did as the Lord commanded. He anointed me with the divine ointment and dressed me in the garments of glory. The appearance of that ointment was more radiant than the greatest light, and its scent was like sweet dew, mild and pleasant, shining like the sun's rays. When I looked at myself, I saw that I was transformed. I was like one of his glorious ones, my being elevated to a state of divine splendor. We have reached the end of our video, and I hope you have enjoyed this journey through the celestial realms. If you're looking for inspiration, knowledge, and spiritual connection, don't let this opportunity pass you by. Subscribe to our channel now, leave a like, and comment to strengthen our community. Your engagement helps us continue sharing religious stories that touch hearts and souls. If you wish to support us further and help us in our mission, consider becoming a channel member. Together, we can make a difference and strengthen our spiritual journey. God bless you.